What will Israel have to give Hamas in return for 10 living hostages?
Look, the exact details are still being talked about, and our negotiation team has returned also. I want to say this: there were a few proposals on the table, not just now, also 2 months ago. The most important thing is that Israel has accepted. It accepted the deal that Witkoff proposed a month ago. It accepted the deal that Witkoff is putting now on the table. But unfortunately, Hamas is not accepting it, unfortunately. And for me, it's very overwhelming also to see how many of our allies, many countries around the world is trying to put pressure on Israel for a ceasefire when it is Hamas who continues to reject every single deal that's coming into the table. The pressure should be on Hamas and not on Israel. We are willing to go to a ceasefire also for a lengthy period of time in return for our hostages. We are not acting in Gaza for the sake of a war. We are there for the sake to return our hostages and to dismantle a Nazi death cult called Hamas, a terrorist organization who vouched to eliminate and annihilate my country and my people.
And Sharren, as part of the hostage negotiations, I mean, the reality is that Hamas wants Israel to permanently leave Gaza, to commit to permanently leaving Gaza so that Hamas, a terror organization, can regroup. Is this the sticking point?
This is something that we cannot accept. They are insisting on that, and that's a point that Israel cannot accept. The meaning of leaving Hamas in power means that they'll continue to use millions of Palestinians as human shield. They'll continue to build their power for another 7th of October. And if I know, look, Sharri, I don't think that any reasonable person would tell their children, their family, their community to go back and live a few hundred meters from a death cult, getting prepared for another massive massacre that can even be 10 times worse than the 7th of October. I can't be responsible for that. I'm a politician. I'm a representative of the people. I cannot tell them to go back when I know that this death cult is 200 meters away from their home.
No, 100%.
And it's not just about Israel, it's about the Palestinians too.
So, Sharren, we're seeing reports that Israel is preparing to take over 75% of Gaza within the next 2 months in order to eliminate Hamas, as you say. What is the plan after that for Gaza?
So, look, our first plan is our goals of war, which means to bring back our hostages, eliminate Hamas. We are looking now and also seeing how to control from a security perspective the area to make sure that Hamas doesn't build any power back again. And that's very important. I cannot outlay the whole plan because it's not written. It's being discussed in many forms and there's many ideas. Many countries are bringing different ideas and it's not going to be dependent only on Israel. So how Gaza's going to look after is still a question. And, you know, I would really like that many of our partners will actually take part in that. But unfortunately, and especially of what we've seen in recent week, with some countries taking a clear position, they become, unfortunately, irrelevant in that discussion, a neutral discussion about the future. They disregard the needs of our people for safety and for security, and they disregard the Palestinian needs. Also, to live free from a terrorist organization that is terrorizing them, murdering them, and abusing them.
No, indeed. And we've seen even protests by Palestinians in Gaza in the past week. We're out of time, but just quickly before you go, Sharren, I want to ask your response to our Prime Minister, who claimed just yesterday that the actions of the Israeli government were outrageous. That was his terminology, outrageous. What would you say to Anthony Albanese?
Well, I have to say it's quite disappointing. It's not the first time that we're disappointed. I think that Australia, uh, you know, we would have expected Australia and the leadership to stand beside us during a difficult time. I know the reports that are coming. Sharri, you've been covering that up for now a year and more than a year and a half now. Those organizations who keep on saying that Gaza is facing famine, okay? Facing famine is a situation in the future. It's not the situation right now in the present. And they continue to say it for more than a year and a half. And the fact is that until now, it didn't reach that stage. Why? Because we are monitoring it closely. But what we want is that the aid reach the people and not Hamas. And when they come and tell me time after time that we have to do it the old way, through UNRWA, through Hamas, I don't agree with that. I don't think that aid has to come through a terrorist organization, and we have to try a different way. And I think that if Australia would have positioned itself more neutrally, then it would have been a partner in also discussing those future plans and also the aid plan in Gaza as well. This is something that we would welcome.
Yeah, but now it sounds like Australia would not be welcome at a seat at the table because it's been shown to have a biased position, which I completely agree with. Sharren, Haskel, really appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much.